Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the Colourpop and Haunted Mansion collection. Now I only picked up the palette and one of the Super Shocks, so I will swatch these. We'll do a look. I'll try and incorporate this in one. I think I'm going to do two different looks, like one on each eye possibly, but I also wanted to compare this to like the Star Wars palette, which has some grays and blues, and then I did get out all of the other Colourpop palettes that I own. No, I don't own every single Colourpop palette, but I have these ones and then all of my monochromatic ones. Most of them are in here. So I wanted to take a look. I will swatch out the palette and then I'll swatch comparable shades so that we can see if there's anything similar in any other palette and if you need this. So if that sounds interesting, stick around. Again, if you are new, welcome, and let's jump in. I'll first show you the pieces that I got a little bit more closely. So this is the Welcome Foolish Mortals palette. I picked this up primarily because of the packaging. My husband and I really like the original Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. We haven't seen the new one yet. I do have a couple of Haunted Mansion Halloween decor items. So there's what the package looks like out of the box. Very cool. There's the hitchhiking ghost on the back, and then it's a little bit messy. I never actually opened this to make sure it was intact. I probably should have, but here is the inside. It's very pretty. I didn't mind the color story. Again, that's the other reason I picked it up, but it was mainly for the packaging. And then I will probably keep the box just because it's a little bit different. I keep my Star Wars palette and one of the Hocus Pocus palettes in the box. I'm not going to save this, which I got the Super Shock Creepin'. So there's the little headstone on him. And then there's what the packaging looks like. This is the white one. I didn't get all three just because I don't tend to wear dark colors all over the lid. This looked like the one that I would probably get the most use out of, so I'll swatch it like that by itself. So it's pretty sheer. It doesn't have, it's got like an iridescent base and then there's like a blue shift. So I thought that would look pretty. This you could probably get away with using it as a highlighter if you're fair like I am. Inner corner, under the brow bone. I do like their Super Shock, so again, that's why I picked up one. But let me swatch the palette out and then I'll swatch some comparable shades. So here are the swatches of just the Welcome Foolish Mortals palette. Okay, and here are a couple of shades from the Star Wars palette that were giving me similar vibes to what was in. We have a few more. This shade is from the Hocus Pocus Witching Hour palette. So that shade looks a little more like this one. I think if you combined those two, and then this purple is also from the Witching Hour, so you can kind of see very, very similar purple. We have a few more. This shade is from the Misunderstood palette, so it's very similar to this, and then we ended up with another purple. So if you have the Villains palette, and then the Sparkly Black, which some of the glitter has dissipated, is pretty much the same as the one from the Villains palette. Got a few more from Hocus Pocus 2. This shade right here could work for a couple of those. There's a taupe in there that's very similar in tone to these. Let's see, what else did I swatch? There's another purple, so we're kind of in there, and then this gray shade was from the Hocus Pocus 2, so that gives you some ideas. Let's do the first look. We're gonna do two. I'll do a different look on each eye. I kind of want to play with the blues a little bit and maybe the purple in the next look, because I never use those kinds of colors. I don't tend to gravitate towards blue, so let's do something with the blue. Let me see here. I've got a small little blending brush. Let's go in with a darker shade and we'll do kind of a halo. I'm gonna go into, what is it, Graveyard Stroll, because we're gonna use the blues. We'll stick to more of the cool toned. Let's see how this works. And I'm just gonna place this in the inner and outer corner. And then I'll run a color a little bit through the crease. This is pretty pigmented. Let me get another little brush just to get in. Inner corner. My eyes are small, so sometimes I have a hard time getting in to the inner corner. And I'm going to go into Corridor of Doors, this like taupey color. And we'll run that just kind of in through the crease. Make sure these sides are blended. Nothing crazy. And then I'm going to go back into Graveyard Stroll and just tap it above that a little bit just to help kind of blend this out. I'm not going to do like a cut crease halo, so I don't need it to be super precise. And then I'm going to go in with Hitchhikers, which is the blue, and then we'll put maybe a little bit of that more focused in the center. I think that'll be pretty. I'm just gonna put this. Just want to see what the quality is, how it performs, because I don't think all Colourpop palettes are created equal. The collab palettes generally, at least the Star Wars ones, I think are some of the best, and I just have that blue shimmer. I'm just blending out the top there a little bit. And then I'm going to go back into Corridor of Doors, that lighter taupe, just to kind of blend that out. Okay, let's see. For lower lash line, I think I'm going to use just the same two gray shades. And we could do a mini halo on the bottom. I don't do that very often. So I'm just repeating, and then we'll take a little bit of the blue. And I have found if you're having trouble getting stuff to stick on the lower lash line, you can put glitter glue under there, or even just the regular eyeshadow primer under your eye before you do your makeup, and that'll kind of help things adhere. Okay. And then this, let's see, Endless Hallway. It's really light. I'm just gonna take a little bit of that up here just to make sure that's blended out. And then we're gonna take a little bit of the Super Shock, and I'll put this in the inner corner. There is colors, and then we'll tap a little bit of lighter blue in the center. There are colors in the palette that you can use. I just figured I would throw this in since I have it. And it's got blue in it, so I don't know if it's gonna apply. These tend to apply better, I think, with the finger. It doesn't want to pick up on the pencil. I am able usually to get them to pick up a little bit. Doesn't like that brush. Let me see if I can come in with a flat. It definitely doesn't really want to pick up with a brush, which is okay because I usually just use these for like one shadow looks all over the lid, so that's not a deal breaker. We'll go into the Bride, and we'll put some of that in there. Well, that's pretty. I don't have a ton of face makeup on. I just put a little bit of concealer on, so that may be why it looks a little bit odd on the rest of my face, if you're wondering. Just gonna tap a little bit of that in the middle just to lighten it up. Okay, so I'm gonna reposition and we'll throw some shadow on the other. For my eye primer, I am using the Gerard Clean Canvas in white, and then I did get out my NYX glitter glue, but I'm not gonna use any in the looks today, just because I want to see how they do on their own. Like the shimmer, the blue on this side, I think went on fine. I think that center shade, the one that's a little bit of kind of a duochrome, probably would have popped a little bit more had I put down a glitter glue, but not everybody likes using glitter glue, so I figured I would try and use them without it for right now. Okay, so we're gonna come in here and I'm going to use the Attic, and then this, what is this shade called? Portrait Chamber in the crease. And I'm using the same brushes. I did clean them. Let's move the mirror a little bit closer because I don't have my contacts in. There we go. That's pretty pigmented on its own. Generally, I will start with darkest to lightest, but I get kind of stuck in a makeup rut, so I'm trying to switch it up a little bit. And then Portrait of Chambers is another like mauvey, taupey color, just to kind of help blend that out. And then we'll do New Orleans, which is, it looks like a dark brown. It's a cool tone brown, yet I think it leans a little bit more purple, we'll say, than like Gravestool, which is like a true gray. I think this works better with the taupes, which is probably what it was intended for. And then just back in with that shade we started with. And I'm not doing anything crazy. Again, I just want to see how these do. And then I'm trying to use some colors that I wouldn't normally use. I mean, this whole palette has, I don't wear a lot of grays anymore. Psychic Medium is pretty, so I think I'm gonna go in with that first. And this is a shadow, but it feels like it's one of those, it's got like the glitter in it. I forget what Colourpop calls these, because it's not a straight pressed glitter, but it's like a hybrid, because it does have glitter where you can see in it, but it's not a straight pressed glitter. There's a colored base to it. I don't realize a Colourpop. I forget what these, is it a glitter much? It's not a straight pressed glitter, but there are glitter pieces in it. I can feel it. And the Ghost Host, I think, is like that also, where there's like chunky bits. It's not a smooth metallic like the purple. So I just took where that taupe, or the brown rather, and the pink meet, I just put some of the purple on. It's an interesting shade, and I almost wonder if it would look better layered on top of the purple. We're gonna try that. I'm gonna put some over what I just did, and then I'm gonna go back over it with the pink again. I mean, you can kind of see the glitter pieces poking through. Yeah, I've used their actual like press. I wonder if this is the new glitter formula. I don't have every single Colourpop palette, so I'm probably not describing this well, but it feels like there's like actual glitter, big glitter chunks in it. I'm gonna go into, was it Seance Circle? It's a little more of a champagne. And I'm gonna put some of that in like the inner part of my lid and the inner corner, just to kind of brighten that up a little bit. I honestly don't know if that pink is gonna do anything on the brush. Probably not. I couldn't get close enough because of my nails, so we'll just leave it like that. So on the bottom, again, I think it's just going to be repeating like New Orleans, which is the dark brown. And the Attic, which is that like mauve-y color that we started with. This is probably, I don't wear purples a lot because I have such dark circles. I feel like it's gonna look like I have a bruise with this because I don't have a full like base on, but again, we're just feeling out the palette here. Is that it? Maybe Grand Ballroom, which is like a sequin shade, but it's a little bit lighter, and the glitter will probably go away. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that pink. And then under the brow, we'll probably do the Bride. And then I'll put some on. I don't think I put anything under the brow bone on this side. We'll do the Bride on that side. And then I'm gonna come back into Portrait Chamber, which is the lighter taupe, and then a little bit of Endless Hallway, which is a super light gray, just to kind of blend that up. Okay, I am going to take you out and then we'll do final thoughts. So hopefully the swatches helped. I think like even within my own collection, I did find a lot of like similar shades, which I think is helpful to know, especially like if you have a lot of Colourpop palettes, do you need this? Probably not. I mean, I don't think a ton. I have quite a few of the monochromatic palettes, and I didn't even go into those, and I probably could have duped like the blue again and the purple, because I have the original blue and purple palette, but those are in a separate Z palette, and I didn't even go into those, and I was able to dupe quite a few shades. But Colourpop releases so much, I think you'd be hard pressed to not be able to dupe it, but it is nice to have them all in one palette. I do think that this is a pretty color story, especially if you like grays. I don't have a ton like this anymore. I'm trying to think. From Lunatic Cosmetics Lab, I do still have the Supernatural palette, which has a lot of like those mauve shades, the ones that I used on this side. And again, those are in the Z palette. I depotted all those like coffin palettes. If you're not familiar, a lot of Lunatic Cosmetics palettes are coffin shaped, but they are magnetic, so you have the ability to pop them out. So anyways, I have a lot of those palettes in with my Colourpop. So it's nice like to have these colors together in one palette. Again, I mainly bought this for the packaging. My husband and I really like the Haunted Mansion, the original movie. We haven't seen the new one yet, but it is something that we both like, so I bought it because it makes me think of my husband. I do like this Super Shock. It did not want to pick up with a brush, so this is definitely an all over, like with your finger, which is generally how I wear these anyway. But yeah, I do like, if you have a bunch of Colourpop, you definitely don't need this. It's not gonna have like a bunch of unique shades, but it is pretty. So like I said, hopefully the swatches helped. I always think it's interesting to see what I can dupe now when I get Colourpop palettes. But yeah, thank you guys so much. If you are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I have a bunch of Halloween makeup content coming, so you won't want to miss out on that. And yeah, let me know if you want to see me do more looks with this, because I can definitely do more. If not, this will probably go in with all my Colourpop, like my Hocus Pocus palettes, and it'll just get used around this time of year. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully I will see you all in another video very, very soon. Bye, everybody.